folks keeping the barbarians from the gate.
I got into the labor movement not because I wanted to negotiate wages. I got into the labor movement because I saw it as a vehicle to do massive social change to improve the lots of people.
Let's take these son of a out and give America back to America where we belong. Thank you very much. Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, the Tea Party can go straight to hell. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
Good morning and welcome into the program today. I'm Brian Summerfield. He is Trucker Randy, and we are your defending fathers. And I'm going to give you the total warning at the beginning of this show. Strap yourself in, hold on. This is going to be a wild ride today with your defending fathers.
Good morning, Brian. I wanted to read an intro here for our guest who's on with us this morning. J.B. Williams has joined the show this morning to share some information. He's a writer on matters of history and American politics with more than 3,000 pieces published over a 20-year span. He has decidedly a conservative reverence for the Charters of Freedom, the men and women who have paid the price of freedom and liberty for all, and action-oriented real-time solutions for modern challenges. He is a Christian, a husband, a father, a researcher, writer, and a business owner. And he also co-founded organizations, the United States Patriots Union, a civilian parent organization for the Veteran Defenders of America. He also co-founded the North American Law Center, a citizen-run investigative legal research and activism organization preparing to take on Americans' greatest legal battles. And we welcome JB to the show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to be with you.
Hey, good morning.
Brian, we met JB and you started talking with him, and why don't you just tell the audience real quick before we get JB involved here how this all came about?
Well, ever since Benghazi, I have literally been madder than any American can possibly be, and there was only one time in my life where I felt more mad and frustrated, and that is when Janet Reno orchestrated the pulling of Alien Gonzalez out of his home in Florida to deport him back to Cuba.
At gunpoint.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
I was so mad that day, and I just got out of the military not much before that, and I was just mad. And in the activities that happened in Benghazi, you could tell that it was not right. I really didn't care much about conspiracy theories or anything else. I wanted to find something that was concrete. Here's the evidence. This is what happened. We're not even getting into any type of weird territory. I wanted it to be something that we could actually hand to a congressman and say, here, your work has been done. Now go do your job. And we were on a call with JB investigating something else, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, you might be able to point me in the right direction, because I kind of put a call to action out to a few of my friends that investigate things, and I said, here's what I want. I'm looking for a narrative, a summary, backed up by fact, no conspiracies. And JB was like, oh, just wait 2 seconds. There you go. Check your mailbox. And boom, it was there. He says, okay, check your mailbox again. And the backup to that was there. And when I went through it the next day, I contacted him back and said, who wrote this? Because this is incredible. I would love to do something with this. And it turned out he was the one that actually authored it. And then from there, I kind of put together a plan of how to get this in as many hands as possible. And then kind of at a point in time, try to get some traction with it all at one time. Mm-hmm. And so that is the purpose of today. Now, in the last, JB, what's it been, 2 weeks?
Yeah, about that, I would say.
About that? In maybe a little bit longer. In that time, I have contacted a number of congressional offices. I've contacted a number of radio programs. And after I sent the information the next day, I would generally get a response back saying, "Wow, this stuff is great. How do we're all in."
Yeah, what do we do with it?
So today on a number of programs, matter of fact, a number of programs you're going to hear on our station, they're going to be talking about these this summary document that JB has put together, as well as the 120 unclassified cables. So,
JB, what caused you to sit down and author this?
The minute we saw the story breaking, and I say we, and I'll preface everything I'm going to say today on the foundation that it's not just me here. My name is public because I write columns and have been doing that for a lot of years as a writer. But there are teams of people here at Patriots Union, Veteran Defenders, and now the Law Center that work on a lot of different things. And a lot of the people on those teams have military or agency backgrounds and the likes. And all of us, when we saw the situation unfolding in Benghazi, immediately contacted one another and said, something's not right here. What's happening here makes no sense. And so we immediately started trying to gather information on what was actually going on with Benghazi. And we had seen, over the many years, we had seen similar type situations, but not quite exact to what it looked like was going on with Benghazi. And so everything dating all the way back to Iran-Contra and things like that. And so we started investigating immediately what was going on, and we got our hands on the 120 pages of unclassified documents, cables going between Benghazi and the Obama administration, multiple departments. And we set a team down as soon as we got those in our hands. And I think they spent about 36 to 48 hours straight, a team going through pouring through those cables.
And these are all, I want to specify, these are all unclassified cables. So, it's not
That's
like
correct.
you were able to just get your hands on these and work with them.
That's correct. And yes, the classified cables, nobody without the clearance has seen the classified documents, but this particular set of documents was unclassified, and we got our hands on those, within a couple of days, a day or two or three after the events started unfolding there. And we're listening to the dialogue, the public dialogue coming out of the administration, the story that it had to do with a protest and a video made by some obscure producer. And by the way, there's a lot of other pieces of this puzzle. We even backgrounded all of that and looked into, what the story was really behind even this protest and video, which was at the center of an explosion from Hillary Clinton during her testimony yesterday.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that today, too, if you want, and why it does matter, contrary to what Hillary Clinton thinks. But at the end of the day, our team spent, 36, 48 hours pouring through every line of those cables and breaking it down into timeline of events as what was taking place. And when we got done doing that, and this team turned that stuff over to me, I used that information to write the executive brief and executive summary, which ultimately, all of which was handed over to the Romney campaign during the period of the debates. And it was our understanding they intended to use what, at least some of what was in those documents. In the end, they ended up using none of it, and which is kind of curious in itself. But that's how these documents came to be, and being the writer here, in these organizations, or one of the main writers in here, I did draft the brief, but it was a whole team of people that put together the information that's in the brief.
JB, we're going to go to our first break right now, but what I would like to do, as long as you can stay on, we would love to get into a lot of things today. One is as much information as we can get out there on Benghazi, especially as it relates to the cover-up, what was going on over there, Hillary's testimony yesterday. Is as much light as we can shed on this subject. What we're going to be doing is we're really going to be having a call to action today. We want people to be so upset about what was going on over there that they are going to call their congressperson and demand that an investigation be done on the classified cables, and we really shed light on this, especially in light of Hillary's testimony tomorrow. So if you want to get involved in the program, if you got a question for JB or question for us, you can pop in. We've got Facebook chat that's open on both Brian Summerfield, Trucker Randy, your Defending Fathers. If you want to call in, 231-347-4382. If you're outside the area, our 800 number, 855-548-0504. Stick around, so much more to come. We are your Defending Fathers.
If you like TV the way it used to be, then you need to check out WLLZ MyTV12's lineup of great old classic TV shows. Weekdays and weekends, it's TV the way it used to be on WLLZ MyTV12, Traverse City Channel 12, or on Charter Cable Channel 72 all over Northern Michigan. That's Charter Channel 72. Check out the entire schedule at WLLZTV.com. Again, that's WLLZTV.com.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first, and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Whether it's a serious fall, fire danger, or other type of home emergency, Life Alert is there for you. The company with its slogan, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up," protects its members. Here are some of them.
When you have a heart attack like I did and there's no one there, Life Alert was there for me.
Having a secure feeling through Life Alert is ideal.
My independence is possible because of it.
Now, Life Alert can also protect you in a fire emergency with a system that automatically notifies our monitoring center.
Thanks to Life Alert, you can live alone without ever being alone.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-814-0825. That's 1-800-814-0825. Call now, 1-800-814-0825. For a free brochure, call 1-800-814-0825. 1-800-814-0825.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment.
Hey, guys, check out my new video game.
Mom, what?
Huh?
What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Al Roker. Let me tell you what's happening in your neck of the woods. Right now, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. These are our neighbors, friends, our co-workers, but we can do something about it. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find the local food bank in your community. I'm Al Roker, and together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states.
Call now, 800-394-6717. 800-394-6717. 800-394-6717. That's 800-394-6717.
Would your business survive a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the program today. I'm Ryan Summerfield. He's Trucker Randy. We're your defending fathers, joined by J.B. Williams this morning, who has written an excellent piece on this whole Benghazi situation. And J.B., let me ask you this, because I think this is really the most important part of this as far as direction goes. And I think it goes beyond just investigating and seeing what is wrong here. But when I first saw this situation, and then the initial response from the White House, it was so troubling because, because you were in the military, how soldiers were treated, how they were left to hang out and dry, and the initial response afterwards. My initial gut feeling is, I think we just witnessed an impeachable offense, and I would probably say maybe even border on treason. Was my, at first blush, that was my initial reaction. As you started investigating this, what was your real purpose behind, here's what I want to convey, here's what I want this to show, because you had all of this evidence that was laid out. What was your purpose in putting together the summary?
Instincts are pretty good.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
Unfortunately, most Americans are not so good, unfortunately, at this point in history. But let me say that when you're doing an investigation and when you're looking into events like this, it's important to not just pay attention to what the right hand's doing, but what the left hand's doing at the same time. That's number one. It's very critical to look at events that occurred before the event and then keep paying attention to what's happening after the event in order to fully understand what happened during the event. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, very much so.
And so we had already been investigating other matters for some time under this administration. And what I mean by that is we were already aware, before the events unfolded in Benghazi at the consulate there, we were already aware and involved in investigating the U.S. government, State Department, and White House's involvement in the so-called Arab Spring that had been going on for some time, a year or more in advance of the events of Benghazi. So we'd already been looking into all of that, and we had already had evidence that the White House and the State Department in particular, among other agencies, had been involved months in advance of the so-called organic Arab Spring in the Middle East in producing the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring that was taking place across the Middle East was actually part of a design out of our own White House and our own State Department, and they were actually running this so-called organic uprising across the Middle East that was toppling governments across the Middle East for a year or more in advance of what happened in Benghazi. So we were already paying attention to what was going on long before Benghazi happened. So when Benghazi event took place, it was a big flashpoint for us. To us, it said, aha, now now we can begin to piece together exactly what they're doing here, and this looks like a massive backlash or blow up in their face. And so that's what our interest was in looking at what happened in Benghazi, was from looking at things leading up to Benghazi. And as it relates to Benghazi in particular, let me just say for listeners, run down a string of events. Benghazi's situation actually started a year before that event happened, when the embassies, a lot of them in the Middle East, but in particularly Benghazi, which was kind of a makeshift consulate after Tripoli had been shut down, they started in September 2011 sending these cables to the White House and to the State Department saying, look, we've got a severe security problem on the ground here and we need more support. That's a great point, and I think it goes back to what you said at the beginning of your answer that said, let's just not look at just these little individual events. You literally took a step back and looked at the big picture, which I think is so important here, and the fact that it really points with a sledgehammer as far as the way that our White House and State Department initially reacted after this event. Go ahead. So it's a year before the event. In September is when Benghazi consulate and the ambassador started requesting additional security and ringing the alarm that there was a problem developing on the ground there. By June or July, let me back up, by March of 2012, they were getting a little bit more specific and a little bit more loud in their requests for additional security. And because the White House and the State Department did not respond to any of those requests, by June and July of 2012, the White House actually approved the use of local quote-unquote militants or freedom fighters there on the ground as security for Benghazi consulate, which came out of terror organizations that had been released by Gaddafi when they were toppling the Gaddafi government. One of the things that Gaddafi did was open up all the prisons where he had Al-Qaeda members and Islamic Maghreb members in prison. He opened up the gates of the prison, turned them all loose. Well, these people are now being approved, including known Al-Qaeda members, by the White House by June, July of 2012 as security members for the team responsible for the security of the Benghazi installation. By August of 2012, the situation had become critical, and Ambassador Stevens started issuing over and over again pleas for real security, not members of Al-Qaeda and Islamic Maghreb there on the ground. And by September 4th, 7 days before the events that occurred and the people watched on TV in Benghazi, Stevens had sent something titled in bold print, which inside national security channels, this would have sent red flags running from one end of the room to the other. Everywhere from the Pentagon to the CIA to the State Department and the White House Situation Room, they would have all been seeing this by then. Where Stevens is saying we have a maximum alert here. We have a maximum alert. We are in danger. This consulate is absolutely going to come under attack, and we need help now. Now, that's September 4th, 7 days before there's no response. There's no additional security sent into the area. And at the end of the day, 7 days later, when the attacks occurred, it was members of the security team that had been proved by the White House who were involved in those attacks. That's a good place to stop. We're going to be going to the bottom of the hour break. Just to know that that's who we're relying on security should frustrate everybody listening out there. We've got so much more from JB when we come back from the break. Stick around. We're your defending fathers.